In this video, I will give you a more practical introduction to the LifeJournal app. When you start LifeJournal, you access the default journal. In this app, journals are basically interfaces to quickly create notes, like this. You can create a new journal with the plus icon next to the journal's header here. Basically, you should create one journal for each domain, each main category of things that you often take notes about. For example, you can have a thought journal, an exercise journal, a work journal, a family journal, and so on. It's not mandatory. You can simply use one journal, or even not use any journal at all, actually. But personally, I feel like it's often a good way to create new notes without friction, especially when you are in a hurry. Journals in LifeJournal basically work like regular journals. They are organized by days. So, they are pretty intuitive. When you create a new note, the note is automatically added to today's page. And you can view previous days by scrolling down. Of course, in each note, you can write text. But you can also create links to concepts. For example, here, in this note, I can tag John Doe. And here, in this new note, I will tag it again. And then, when I click on one of those John Doe links, I access my John Doe file, which will contain every note where John Doe was linked. But the distinctive feature of LifeJournal is that you can link the same concept, the same file, in different ways, so as to organize notes better. I will show you directly how it works. It will be easier to understand. For example, here, I return in the default journal. I create a new note, and in this note, I will create a new link to John Doe. But instead of tagging John Doe with a hashtag, like I did before, I will use square brackets to make a link to John Doe. So we can see this link to John Doe is not the same color. The previous ones were purple. This one is orange. What does it mean? Well, if I return to the John Doe file, you will understand. As you can see, the new note is not there. There is only the first two. But it's normal, because here we are in the purple tab of the John Doe file, which means we only see purple links to John Doe. If I want to access the orange links to John Doe, I'll have to switch tab here. And there, indeed, we find the last note we created with the orange link. So, basically, for each file, you have multiple tabs. And you can directly add content in a specific tab of a specific file using one single link. This is very powerful because it means you can sort new notes on the fly just by creating links. It's up to you to give meaning to the colored links. For example, in my way of organizing notes, I use purple links for content that simply relates to the object. And I use orange links for content that is about the object. But you can do whatever you want. And of course, you can create your own colors, your own system. For example, I will show you right now how to create a new color, a new type of link. I click on the 3 vertical dots here to open the main menu. Then I click on Manage Reference Types. References and links are basically the same thing. So, reference types are just the different types of links. Then I click on Create New Reference Type. The label field can be whatever you want. Typically, it should be short and indicate the purpose of the links you will create with this new type. For example, I can name it Story if I want to have a tab for story stuff in my files. The prefix field is more important because it defines how you will be able to trigger the creation of a link with this type. It's basically a keyboard shortcut. For this example, I will use story/. So each time I will write story/ in a note, it will prompt the creation of a story link. I then set a color for these story links, and then it's enough. I can proceed with the creation. We can try it directly here. So I just have to type the prefix shortcut we defined, that is story/, and then I type and select John Doe. If I return in the John Doe file, we can see that a new story tab has been created. And here we find this new note that we just added. So again, using this system, not only the content of your files is sorted and organized in multiple tabs instead of being mixed together in the same container, but more importantly, you basically sort and organize content on the fly just by creating links with the proper type. Note that links can also be created without using the keyboard prefix shortcuts. For example, I can right-click in an empty space of a note, and then in the context menu, I select Add Reference, then I select the type of link, or the color if you prefer, and finally, I select the file I want to link. I also could have done the same thing using this button here, which is the method I use on mobile, even if this bar is not located in the same place on a mobile phone. It's located at the bottom of the screen. It is also possible to move one link from one tab to another, or from one color to another. It is great for creating dynamic Kanban system, dynamic to-do list if you prefer. For example, let's say I work on a project alpha. I can have a file for this project, like this. And in this file, I can have a tab to keep track of all the things I need to do later in that project. So I will use the blue pending link type for that. I can also have a tab to keep track of all the things I have to do right now in that project. So I will use the green to do now link type for that. And of course, sometimes you want to pull something from the pending list and move it in the to do now list. And it is quite easy to do in LifeJournal. You just have to right-click the link and then select the destination tab. And that's it. As of now, I have always shown explicit links. For example, here, in the green tab of the Project Alpha file, we can see that each block has a green Project Alpha link in its content. But it is only because the notes have been created outside of the Project Alpha file itself, in the default journal. So the link to Project Alpha had to be explicit. But you can also create notes directly inside a file. And in that case, the link to that file will be implicit. For example, here I create a new block in the green tab of Project Alpha. If I close the Project Alpha file and reopen it again, we can see that the block that have no explicit link is still here. It's because the link is implicit, or hidden if you prefer. But you can reveal all implicit links of a block by clicking on the refs button here. Actually, it will reveal every links that this block have, whether implicit or explicit. And of course, you can have multiple links in the same note. And what this means is that the note will be shown in each file that is linked. For example, in this previous note, I already have a purple link to John Doe. But I can also add an orange link to Albert King. So this note is indeed shown in the purple tab of John Doe file. But it is also present in the orange tab of Albert King file. So a specific note is not located in one single place. No, it is accessible from any file that is linked. Next, I will show you how to do advanced search requests. To make an advanced search request, I click here, or use the Ctrl+L shortcut. Then I will construct my request using the middle part here. I click on the Add Parameter button. I then select Reference, which again is the same thing as links. Then I select the type of link that I want to target, or I select all if I don't want to target a specific type of link. And finally, I select the object or file that I want to target. And to get the results, I click on the Go button. So here I get all the blocks that have a link to John Doe, no matter what the color was. But of course, it's often useful to have requests with more than one parameter to target specific nodes. I can recreate a new search request or adjust the current one here, which I will do. I click here to add a parameter. The process is the same as before. I will target something more specific this time by filtering for blocks with orange link to Albert King. I refresh the results, and here we go. Now there is only one node that matches my request. Of course, this kind of search requests are mostly useful when your database is very big and you want to recover specific material that you have referenced. To finish this video, just a little word about privacy and subscription. First, the LifeJournal app itself is free, and all your data is stored offline on your device. So the app can work perfectly fine without an internet connection. But LifeJournal also provides optional subscription features. The main subscription feature is the sync feature, which lets you sync your notes between your devices. This sync feature is optimized to be very fast and secure. When using this feature, your data is end-to-end encrypted so that only you can really access it. Using the link in the description, you can get a 2-month free trial to try this sync feature for free. No credit card or any payment required for this free trial. You just have to create your account. And once you have an active subscription, there are some steps to enable the sync feature in LifeJournal. I will show them quickly right now. Here, in the lower right corner of LifeJournal, there is a little cloud icon. You have to click on this cloud. Then, you need to input your subscription credentials, login and password. And then, click on the login button. If your credentials are correct, the app will then ask you to choose one of your cloud database. This is basically the remote database that your local database will send and pull data from. Then it will ask you to confirm your choice. And then there is 2 scenarios. If you never used the selected cloud database before, the app will ask you to create an encryption password for this database. This password is required to encrypt and decrypt the content that will be sent on the remote server. If you already used the selected cloud database before, the app will instead ask you to input the encryption password that you previously defined. So here, in this case, it is the first time that I selected this cloud database. So the app is asking me to create the password. I click here to create it. Before proceeding, the app will show you a warning about this password. I'll let you read it, but I will skip it for this demonstration. Now that the password is defined, 2 buttons will appear. To enable the sync feature, you have to toggle the corresponding button here. And that's it. The sync feature is set up. I know this is a bit long to just enable a feature, but this is required for this feature to be secure. And you just have to do it once. And that's all for this video. You can learn more about LifeJournal in the link in the video description and in the pinned comment. There will be more practical video coming soon. Thank you for listening.